Well, hello, 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 everyone. What's happening? We got a lot of competition for eyeballs tonight because of the basketball game, but that's okay because what we're talking about as women is more important than watching millionaires make some money. I mean, you know what I mean? That's not going to help you. But you may hear something here today that does. Let me move over a little bit. Originally, tonight's slated topic was how to stand up for yourself. But I thought about it and I thought, judging by the letters that we heard on Tuesday and last week, over the weekend as well, it just seemed like I needed to give you some examples of where women needed to stand up for themselves and how to do it. So that's gonna, I'm gonna follow this up, with more information, but in light of what happened today, my timing was, it couldn't have been better because I decided to change the topic yesterday. And then I woke up this morning to find all these news broadcasts about the Google employees worldwide staging a walkout protest against Google's handling of charges of sexual harassment by its key executive staff. And what the people are charging is, some of these guys, some of the cases where even they did investigation and the reports were verified, and they still gave the men. One guy got $90 million on his way out. And others were given no packages, other got some smaller packages, but in many of the instances they still got something in spite of how they treated women, and in some cases men too, underneath them. It's just scandalous. And you all know about, we talked about the Harvey Weinstein thing, Bill Cosby. Matt Lauer. There's been all these guys in the news in positions of power where they have just abuse their power and try to get people to, coerce people into doing them sexual favors or doing inappropriate things in the workplace. It's unbelievable. And the stories, there's millions of stories out there about women, and I can even tell you a couple that I had. And what it seems like is when you're really young, they feel like they can, you're more of a target. Why are you more of a target when you're young? Because they know you're naive. They know you haven't found your voice yet. They know that you're still into that phase where you think that you need to please people and you're afraid. So younger women are always a target. When it's somebody older, like say by the time you hit about 35, 40, they know you've been around the block a time or two, and you'll tell them where to go, and your lawyers will tell them how to get there and how to pay you because, they got to pay that toll. So they don't tend to mess with women who are a little bit older. They always go for teenagers and young women in their young 20s. That's always the target. And in well, what's the word I'm trying to, disproportionately, the women who are targeted are women of color. That means primarily black and brown, and then some Asian women as well. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to talk about how they do it. It tends to be women who are in the lower paid positions are seem to get the brunt of it. Waitresses, line workers, factory workers, people that do like janitorial work, this housemaids, this kind of stuff. They really just get, they catch hell. Then by the time you get into the corporate environment, once again, like there's people on the lower echelon who tend to get targeted for sexual harassment. And then by the time you get more into the executive field and the tech industry, it's the same thing. This horny ass, old, ugly, crotchety, old fool white men, targeting pretty much everybody. So, what I wanted to do originally, this show was going to be talking about how black women get targeted by black men, but that's going to be a segment of it because that is highly prevalent as well. But I want to talk, we're going to talk about some things in general, men in general, and how they perceive women of color and why things are going on the way that they are. And one thing you should know is, when you look at this Me Too movement, how it's been so in the media, and it was associated originally with the actress Melissa Milano, who first used it. I guess it was about a year ago. She first picked up that Me Too thing. Well, it was originally created in 2006, 2007 by a sister. Now, somewhere I have her picture, and I will show it to you in a little bit. But I wanted to first, before we even get too far into this discussion, I wanted to first go over what kind of behaviors constitute sexual harassment, because I think a lot of young women don't really know. So this slide here is the legal definition of sexual harassment that is on the EEOC website. That is a federal governmental agency, equal opportunities in employment and housing or something. But um, this is what constitutes sexual harassment. As you can see, it covers both males and females, and it includes things that are like hinting at it, things that also directly affect your employment, where you're afraid that if you don't give in, that you won't have a job. Now, somebody who's took a long time to get jobs and is facing like eviction or starvation or something, they will target those kind of people because they know that they have um, more to lose. Whereas somebody who's got millions in investment or stuff, they'll tell them where the sun don't shine. This damn phone. Men want women in their 20s, they do, but they want them. Why? Because they're young and dumb. They don't have confidence. They don't really know what to do. They don't know how to handle things. I mean, look at all the letters that come in on the advice column. That's simple shit, and they don't know what to do. Oh my God, this phone. Excuse me. Let me turn this sucker off. That's what I'm gonna do. They don't know what to do, so they're like a perfect victim. That's why they have so many women who are from foreign countries. They threaten them with deportation and stuff like that. So you understand what I'm going through. They're gonna pick a person who is an easy target. Okay, those are poor women, women who don't speak the language very well, women who are foreigners who they think may be illegal or afraid to go back to their own country, whatever, and they're going to pick people of color because of the fetishization that men tend to have about women of different races and nationalities. This is some bullshit, and bottom line, it's just some bullshit. Well, you can share your story in a minute, Ricky, because I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna be asking for your stories because I took some off the um you know what, Boogie, go over to Twitch and sign up for notifications over there because they seem to be more reliable according to people. So, you guys have had the opportunity to read this sexual harassment slide, right? So, that, and you can go back to this video and read it again, or you can go directly onto the EEOC website if you want to read the full thing. I just extracted a portion of it. But let me talk about this, okay? There was a study done by the Women's uh, National Women's Law Center. They analyzed data from EEOC reports, and it was very disturbing. What they found out was very disturbing. Let me find these numbers. Okay. More than 1 in 3 women who filed sexual harassment charges also reported retaliation, which is also against the law. Uh, Women born between 1980 and 1996 and women in Gen X, 1965 and 1979 years, filed more sexual harassment charges with the EEOC than women in the baby boomer generation. That's women born in 46 to 64. Why? Because, like I just said, they're younger. Women employed at small companies with 15 to 100 employees filed the largest share of sexual harassment charges. I think that is often because those companies don't have a sexual harassment policy. Now, when you work for large firms, not only do they have a policy, they make you sign it. This hospital I work for, they gave it to you in writing, and you had to sign it that you had read it and understood that if you violated those rules, that it was instant termination. They didn't give a fuck, and so everybody had that in their personnel file. So you get a sexual harassment charge and watch what happens to you. They was not playing with them people. Um, Women that work in accommodations and food services, including restaurants, filed the largest share of sexual harassment charges, about 14% of all charges in which an industry was identified. And then it says, the black women filed sexual harassment charges at nearly 3 times the rate of white non-Hispanic women. And these are the reports that they analyzed between 2012 and 2016. So that's only 4 years. 1 to 3, that's a lot. especially when you consider the fact that black women are kind of more used to being harassed. You know what I'm talking about. So they tend to like blow it off. So if you got you have 1 to 3, and that them sisters was pushed that much to file, you know that it's 20 times that high at least. And that's what I wanted to talk about. No, I'm not going to talk about non-sexual nature. I'm talking about sexual harassment today. Let's stay on topic. That's too much. I can't do all of that in 90 minutes. So I like to cover one topic at a time, and I'm talking about this today. And if you have an idea for something else, send it in by email. So let me go back to this slide and see what else I got on here. So here we go. An estimated 87 to 94% of those who experience sexual harassment never file a legal complaint. Okay, this is about what I was just talking about, that report by the National Women's Law Center. 87 to 94% don't file at all. What does that tell you about how prevalent this is? It's just fucking ridiculous. These men need to be beaten with sticks. And now this is how I was coming up to the conclusion that, we had to look at minority men for this, because most of them tend to be very traditional, right? They have this thing about, especially brothers, got this thing about, black women need to submit, I'm your king, all this old stuff, right? So it says right here, the more a person adheres to traditional gender roles, the less likely they are to believe that women are saying about harassment and coercion and assault and rape and the impact on women. These guys, they have that rape myth acceptance, which is the myth that all women are lying about it, that they're just making it up, and including the belief that many women are lying when they make these allegations, and is directly correlated to support their traditional binary sex segregated gender roles. And these beliefs are also linked to higher propensities to harass and rape women. And when you look at statistics, who is the race of women that is more harassed and sexually assaulted? It is African American women. And who do the men that we have to deal with, do they believe in this stuff, these traditional gender ideals? Absolutely. So that's why I am of the mind that that relating this topic to how black men treat black women is very, very important. It's just inescapable. It starts when girls are 10 or 11 years old, and it doesn't let up until you get like old, like super old. They still be trying to do it even when you're in your 40s. So, I don't know what to say about these guys. But I can tell you a story. When I was 19 years old. I started working at this brokerage firm. And as I understood it, I was the first black person that had ever worked there. So I go into the trading room, right? And this white boy walks up to me and introduces himself. I mean, it's my first week at the job. I don't know anybody. So I'm thinking, this is like normal, courteous behavior. So he reaches out, he shakes my hand, and then he says to me, nice rack, and reaches out to touch my boob. Now, I told y'all I got 3 brothers, right? And I know how to fight. I don't do that thing where girls used to be doing all this stuff here and they want to pull and scratch and all this stuff. I jump back into the boxer stance, that split stance, crouched and punched up like my brother taught me to do, fucked his eye up. 19 years old, and I busted that motherfucker right in the face. I didn't even think about it. It just kind of happened. And after I did it, I was scared because I thought, oh no, I just started this job. They're paying me really good. Oh no, what am I going to do? But he thought that because I was young, that I was, defenseless, and that he could just clown me like that. It was a room full of white people. Okay, like I said, I'm the only black person there, and I was the youngest on the staff. So he just thought he was gonna get away with this shit. I blacked that motherfucker's eye, and I hope he had a good time explaining it to his wife. And then a couple of days later, my boyfriend, who was 6'4", came up in there with me and said, "Who's the motherfucker who, was trying to touch you?" Him. And so they had to have a conversation. And so after that, they all left me alone. But it's the kind of thing like, what would possess you to think that you had the right to treat me like that? See, that's where I went. I didn't say shit to him. I just busted his ass in the eye. And so it's like, Yes, you get harassed all the time. It's like that's what I'm saying. It's a thing that black women, especially if you grew up in an urban area where you had to deal with niggas, you have to hear that shit from the time you're 10 or 11 years old. Soon as your body even thinks about changing, even before, because they like little girls with flat chests too. They're just fucking perverts. And so you go into the street to get stuff, a loaf of bread and a carton of milk for your mother, and you got to deal with motherfuckers, grown ass men trying to talk to you and stuff. It's terrible. And so here they go at the on the employ, while you're at your job, they do the same shit, and they think that they can get away with it at work. Now let me read you some of these stories. Okay, this was something. This is an article called. It was in the Root. How sexual harassment silences black women in the workplace. This is from December of 2017, and it's about the Ford Motor Company in particular. Even though Ford says we don't tolerate harassment or discrimination, these are uneducated men working on a manufacturer line. Okay, most of them are stupid. That's why they working in a factory. They don't have education or sense to do anything else. I mean, I don't want to talk about folks like that, but this is the reality of it. Okay, because if you was educated and you could do something else, you wouldn't be working in a factory doing manual labor. All right, so that's just how it is. So here come these women, right? So they want to get the job too, because they're divorced, they baby mama, they need a job, they got kids, all this stuff. They're supporting their aging parents, whatever it is. So this one lady says, this woman, she comes to her job and she was just, starting there. This was in 1993. She asked a coworker to explain something to her. Why were men calling out peanut butter legs when she arrived in the morning? Didn't want to say anything, but she insisted. He said, well, peanut butter is not only the color of your legs, but it's the kind of legs that they like to spread. Now, in some women's minds, that wouldn't be sexual harassment because it didn't exclusively or really clearly relate to sex. But oh yes, it does, because anything that they say that is of a even remotely sexual nature that offends you, that is meant to shame or embarrass or humiliate you, or to put you into any kind of category of a sexual nature is sexual harassment. If you don't believe me, go back and refer to slide number 1. That breaks it down as best as I can. Who the fuck would say some shit like that to somebody? That's what I'm saying. Is this a bunch of ignorant ass fools? Okay, then here comes another one. Those accused of sexual harassment include black, white, and Latino men. Some of the women are felt doubly victimized, propositioned, and denounced as sluts, while also being called black bitches and other racial slurs by black men, okay, on their job. Who should have to put up with that to collect a paycheck? This lady named Christy arrived at the Chicago assembly plant with the influx of transfers in 2012. She said a supervisor who had been giving her easy tasks like placing radiator caps began asking her to play hooky from work with him. She claimed that the man, whose name was Mike Reese, told her his preferred nickname. He called himself White Chocolate. He said that he had a black man's dick. I'm going to put this aside because that is just too disgusting for me. Why would you say some shit like that to somebody? See, that's what I'm saying. These men, something's wrong with them. Who talks to people like that? Now, this letter came in. I asked on my Facebook page for people to submit, uh, their own story, right? So this lady writes in and she says, I was 18 and I was at my first job. See, like me, I was 19. A big, almost 350-pound man who was married to a white woman decided that he would pursue me. He was friends with my boss and able to get into the office and get my number. Okay, violation of privacy, every HR law that there is. He called and asked me if we could go for a ride. I declined. Afterwards, he felt like how dare I turn him down. He began to talk about me to the other black men, and of course they joined in the harassment. They would whisper, there that bitch is, whenever I came in the kitchen. He fixed my orders late, which messed with my tips. He made me terribly uncomfortable. The last straw was when I went into the freezer to get something. He came in behind me and closed the door and began to feel on me. I told my boss about it, and he said he would talk to him. I had already reported it to him several times, and now it was far past the talk. I was young and afraid, so I quit the job. I'm 36 years old now and wish I could go back and sue the hell out of him. There were several white women who worked there, but he never tried them. I wonder why. Yeah, there's a time limit, but the whole thing is, um, in the age that we have now, this is what I would suggest with women. They have these apps where you just press a button and it records everything. Put that on your phone and keep your cell phone on you at all times, charged and ready. Because you mash the button, and they also have things where you like if you take pictures, it not only it takes a picture and it immediately uploads it to in the cloud. I would have to find them because I heard about them and I wrote them down somewhere to keep them, to talk about them on the show. But you like they start harassing you, they reach for your titty or they say something right, you start recording. By the time and it's immediately uploading it to the cloud. So even if they take your phone and do something with your phone, it's too late. It's already in the cloud and you the only one with the password and you the only one that knows where it is. Then you use that and you sue the fuck out of them. That's what you do. So we'll have to look more into that. But I'm telling you, I am such an evil, vindictive little ass. I'ma get you. I'ma get you. I'ma get you. If it's the last thing I do, I'ma get you. I'ma take every fucking thing you ever thought you was gonna have. I'ma terrorize your kids. I'ma fuck up your wife's family. I'ma fuck up your parents' minds. I'ma do everything I can to you because you had the nerve, the gall, the audacity to think you was gonna put your hands on me and talk crazy to me. I'ma fix your nigger ass. Oh, this shit makes me mad. And they always do it with young girls who are scared and don't know what to do. They always do that to them and trap them in places. Okay, here go another one. I'm a 37-year-old black woman who has for the past 2 years been harassed by an African. Fucking let me shut up. He's in his 50s. The first week I started the job, he was trying to get with me and hasn't stopped no matter how many times I just laugh in his face. I don't have any children. He had the nerve to ask if I wanted to make a baby with him. This dude has 5 kids and is on child support for two of them. Is he serious? He's been in the same position for 20 years and can barely speak English, can't understand what he's saying half the time. I asked him one day to write a list of 10 things he would have to offer me. It took him 3 days and all he wrote on the piece of paper was love. I told him that wasn't enough. He kept bugging me to come over to my place with a bottle of wine instead of taking me out. He tells me, "You're so sweet and nice to me," that he thinks I'm a fool and easy to take advantage of. Little does he know I'm really tired of him. He tells me he'll wait forever for me. I don't want him ever and I want him to leave me alone. But I know how men will turn ugly if you cuss them out or turn them down in a firm way. What can I do? I have to work with this fool. What the fuck is he going to do to you? I mean, really? Is he your boss? If he is, just quit and get another job. I mean, that's not that hard. Now, let me explain where you made some gross errors in judgment. Um, he wanted to get with you. You needed to hurt his feelings. That's the one thing that you didn't do here. You're being very polite. So what you do is say, first of all, motherfucker, you can't even speak English. What the fuck would I do with you? You sound like you fresh off the boat. Number two, your ass is the oldest fucking dirt. Your dick probably won't even get hard. So you say these kind of things to them in private where nobody can hear because he's been saying this shit to you, right? So you say some shit to him and then you could deny it just like he did. And just, I don't nobody wants you. That's why you sitting up here with 5 kids and no money, working at the same job for 20 years. You fucking loser. I would just totally just take the knife out and any size of the ego he had, I would dash it to smithereens. Don't nobody want you. You old, you can't speak English, and you're ugly and you're broke. Okay, what the fuck would I do with you? Get out of my face. You say anything else to me, I'm going to go to HR. And if you keep harassing me, I'm going to go file a restraining order on you with the police department. And then how's that going to look when you go home? You need to leave me the fuck alone. And you being all nice talking about you make a list for me and all that shit, you giving the motherfucker hope. That's not how you handle sexual harassment. You put up very firm boundaries and you do not mix and mingle the two. You put up boundaries and then you adhere to them at every time. Every time he started to talk to you, say, fuck you, get the fuck away from me. Don't fucking talk to me. And you don't worry about them trying to get ugly. Yeah, I would hurt his goddamn feelings. I would hurt feelings he had since he was born. Feelings he didn't even know he had anymore, I would hurt him. And I would hurt his mother's feelings for having him. Those ugly ass fucking ass baby that grew up and just pollute my eyeballs with his ugly ass face. Oh my God. So she didn't handle this right at all. This was not the correct way to do this. He tells you he'll wait forever. You have so many opportunities to hurt his feelings and crush him, and you're not taking them. You wait forever. I hope you die waiting, motherfucker, because that's about how long it's gonna take for me to show any interest in your funky, can't speak English, African booga booga ass. Oh God, I can't stand African men, so you know. Yeah, they do. They tread carefully, but they still do they shit. Cause this dude I'm telling you about that did that to me, reached out to my boo, was white, but I was 19 years old, and he was so shocked that he got punched in the fucking face. I don't play that. Don't touch me. Don't fucking touch me. I don't even like women touching me. Don't touch me. Yeah, I'm gonna go after your mama, your daddy, everybody in your whole fucking village. They should have put you buried your ugly ass. You're just polluting the world, wasting up space and breathing, using up oxygen that somebody who's worthy would need. Oh my God. This is probably not a good topic for me to do. I'm just like, I just terrible. Don't cross me. Just leave me the fuck alone. I'm very calm and peaceful person, but one thing I do not tolerate is people getting in my space or getting in my face or saying some bullshit to me that I don't want to hear. Yeah, that little ooga booga jungle bunny fucker. I hate that shit. Ugh. All right, now this lady just was working in a restaurant, and she says she's polite, she's a good worker, and once she was placing some dirty plates in the dishwasher's window, and he says to her, "Can I get a smile?" And she says, "It was two dudes, black guys I hadn't worked with before. They were back there washing dishes. They had Jamaican sounding accents. I ignored them at first, but since they were deep in my face and was temporarily stuck stacking dishes, they continued their harassment. I said, I don't like being commanded to smile. He said, it's not a command. It would just make my day better. No, motherfucker, what would make my day better is for you to get the fuck out of my face. That's what would make my day better. I don't feel like talking to you. I'm here to do a fucking job, and I'm not here to socialize and smile like a goddamn Cheshire cat at you. Now go over there and do some fucking work. Obviously, you got time to be walking around telling people to smile. You don't have enough goddamn work to do. Should I consult your manager? You know what I mean? You don't tell me what to do with my face, motherfucker. Get out of here. No, I escape arrest records. There's nothing illegal about talking shit to people. See, that's the thing where people get confused. They think that because I say all of this stuff to people, that equates to, something else. No, I'm going to shoot you down with my words in my mouth. I don't need, I mean, I do have a gun or two or three, but that don't mean I need to use it. So then she says, the other one, so she ignored him, and then he wagged his finger and said, "You mad at somebody?" And she continued to ignore him until he said, "You got an attitude." And she says, "I screwed up my face and said attitude." And that's when the other one piped up and leaned forward and aggressively said, "Yes." And she says, "I don't remember what I said after that." She said she probably tried to make a joke, but she ended up feeling so attacked and put on the spot that she feels like she probably did do that smile that women do when they feel shamed and bullied, and that he was feeling some kind of victory, like a "there we go," when I gave that weak smile of surrender. And she said she hasn't gone back to that place, but she's ready for them now. But unfortunately, she wasn't ready for them then, and which is the purpose of this show. So a lot of you guys think, well, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna talk about these stories, and it's gonna be all horrible and hear about all this stuff. The purpose of this is to tell you what happens to other women, and for you to start getting a battle plan in place. You have to have your mind right. You gotta have a game plan. So if this happens, they say this to you, they try to corner you in this way, this and that. What are you going to do? What things do you have in place? Like, for instance, a stun gun. I'm telling you, if you got these self-defense things, you need to always have them on you. Okay, so you in this freezer, right? And this dude, tries to corner you in the thing. Now he's 350 pounds. His big fucking ass probably blocks the door. And so what do you do in an instance like that? Well, pepper spray. Right in the eyeballs is a good one. But then, of course, you got to make sure you move quick, because if he falls, that 350 pounds, and you do your physics, 350 pounds of force, the speed, the distance. By the time he, hits you, I mean, you could be like in traction and shit for months. So, you got to be quick on your feet, spray and duck. Get out the way. or you got a stun gun. He puts his hands on you, tap his ass right in the face with it. Surely he's out that tall, you could reach him. So he pushes out his hands to touch you. He's feeling you, right? So he's got to be within arm's reach of you. So that's when you just go right for his eyeball, right in his mouth, right in his neck with your stun gun and drop that motherfucker. I bet you he won't put his hands on you again. Box cutters too. Well, mace is in a small enclosed space like that is kind of risky because you're gonna mace yourself. It's not enough. You know what I mean? It's a freezer that she described. So it is not. It is gonna get like okay, but Jay Norman. So what? You know what? Is this like this? You try to say because one woman got shot that 75 million women should let men treat them the way that they fucking want to because of that one woman got shot. That's bullshit. Don't come in here with that scaremongering shit. You in the wrong spot for that. You know what? Because it's like any woman who gets attacked like this, she feels dead inside anyway. Her spirit is gone. Her life energy is gone. It's been usurped by some monkey knucklehead who tries to just take over her life. And the whole thing is like that's why I keep telling y'all, get you a Google phone number. How many times do I have to say this? You feel afraid to give somebody a number, give him that number then. You don't have to give him a real number. I mean, how many times do I have to say this? I say this on every fucking show. You think that? Okay, don't worry about that then. Get you a Google phone number and give him that. And get you some little social code. You can make the cards up on your computer. They sell card stock at Walmart. And put the little things on there with your whatever fake name you want and put the phone number on there. And then you give it to him. And you can have your fake name on the Google voicemail. And he can call that and leave every message he fucking wants to till his eyes fall off and his finger turn to nubs. He will never reach you. Okay? I don't know. I mean, this is not hard, ladies. That's why I'm here, though, because every time you post an objection, I'm going to tell you how to get around it. This is not rocket science. But you do have to have a fucking plan in place. You can't just be going through life all thinking that, because you're nice, that men are going to be nice to you. They're going to see your ass as a victim and they're going to take advantage of it. Oh, who pissed me off? Shit. I mean, that shit. I don't like that. Talking about, well, that happened to one person. Okay, in the meantime, 75 million, 80 women are getting victimized. And you want us to stop standing up for ourselves because of what might happen, like that happened to that one woman. That's bullshit. Women get killed by their own husbands too. So what, you should don't want to get married because of that? I'm sure. There's so many of you racing up and doing everything you can to get a husband, but you sure don't worry about the husbands killing their wives. But you're going to talk about this one woman over there that happened, and you're going to bring that up as an example for women to not do something. Fuck all that shit. That's dumb. Get you a Google number. I told you all 55 million times. They're free. There's no reason not to have one, even if you don't use it. You get you one. Yeah, there you go. See, that's Eliza had the shit. She got her some evidence. Yeah, because like you could do like you got the Google. Every time they call, it keeps a record too, and it keeps like they leave a message. It leaves a message as a MP3 file, MP4, whatever it is. So you can play it. You can use it for evidence in court. It's data and timestamp from Google servers. It's all lovely. Get you one. Get you one. Get you one. Yeah, stop living in fear. Come on now. There's all kind of ways to do this. Yes, you are fear mongering. I told you to get you a Google phone number. That's no reason to not to be afraid of dealing with niggas because of what happened with one woman. That's what I'm saying. So every year, but every woman racing around and talking about I want to get married, they ain't looking at them statistics and worrying about that. So you want to be fear mongering? Talk about where the majority numbers are, which is when women get married or in a relationship with a nigga. Okay, that's the most dangerous place for a woman is married or in a relationship with a man. Okay, but all y'all, okay, you can't get enough of that. But you're gonna worry about one man who asked a woman for a phone number and killed her. One. One. They was married by their husbands, and they were married. Not all of them. They are married by men. These men are doctors. These men are whatever office workers. They're judges. They're all kind of stuff. They're some blue collar workers with good jobs at the post office. All kind of stuff that women have. Their husbands kill them when the women try to leave them or don't want them or something. And that's what I'm saying. You talking about when you look at the statistically, more women, black women especially, are killed by men that allegedly love them than by strangers. So you worried about that one woman, and I'm telling you, the most dangerous place for you to be is in a fucking relationship. So there's no comparison at all to the numbers. Just get you a Google phone number, and that eliminates that risk 100%. So let's move on. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, you can't argue with me. My brain works good. In spite of all the alcohol that it's been soaked with, it still works fabulously. Okay, so let's talk about sexual harassment. They say 33% of female executives and engineers, 28% of women in tech, 34% of women in IT have been sexually harassed at work. That's any kind of male dominated field. Women who get into try to be police officers, women who try to be um, firemen and all that kind of stuff. They always get it because men want to feel like they dominate something. And this lady, I read this really interesting article. Let me read, do some more of these slides first. Let's talk about this. Okay, we always talk about, men say I'm a good man. Women like, I want a good man. I want a good man. What does that mean? Okay, because most men can't really define it. So then let's look at it. Just two ways that men traditionally, two roles that men traditionally play that they feel like qualifies them to be called themselves a good man. Protecting. Okay, they try to protect the people that they love. That's the number one way that they say that they are a man. And providing is the other one. Okay, so when you look at providing, though, women are in the workforce, so they don't really need men necessarily for that because they can provide for themselves. And when you join, two incomes, then, you got some stuff going on. But when you look at what's going on and how many men have really are having a problem with this Me Too movement and all the men being outed for being harassers of women, they are really struggling with accepting that all these millions of women are telling the truth about what's happening to them at the hands of men. They just feel really confused about it, really conflicted. And this woman, I excerpted from her article, broke it down just perfectly. She says, when a woman says me too, I am harassed on the street. I left my job because my boss won't leave me alone. I was raped by a neighbor at a party. I never told anyone what happened to me. She might, ooh, excuse me, she highlights her lack of security. What a woman describes when she says pound me too or any number of related hashtags psychologically turns into, for many men, you did not protect me. In other words, like the guy is a failure. To believe what women are saying, therefore, means that a man has to admit a sense of failure, a likely source of guilt, shame, anxiety, and discomfort. That doesn't just go for bad men, but also for those who believe they are doing their utmost job to be, quote, good. And you can see the conflict that a guy might have like that, right? Because, he said, I'm a good man, but it's like, okay, but when women tell you about the shit that happens, and a lot of it these guys observe because they're right there, they see their friends clowning, trying to hit on little girls and all this stuff, and they don't say anything. They don't do anything. They don't intervene. And so, to them, it's like, oh, it's no big deal. He didn't touch her, he didn't hurt her, this and that. There's psychological damage done to women like that when they're walking down the street minding their own business and you talk to them like they're a piece of meat, like they have a tail, like all they're there for is to satisfy your base animalistic urges. Okay, that's not, women are people with feelings and goals and dreams just like you. And you sitting up there just reducing them to a piece of meat or some entertainment or some vehicle for you to massage your dick in. Well, that becomes a very disgusting thing. And then you wonder why women are so sick of men and don't want nothing to do with your fucking asses. Is it because you don't know how to act? That's good your partner has sympathy, Maylene. That's excellent. He's a far more advanced dude than most, unfortunately. All right, next slide. Um, So as we enter, this is from that same article, as we enter the next phase of Me Too, outing more bad men isn't enough. The urgent question we must face in this moment is why half the population persistently refuses to believe the millions of women who say sexual harassment and assault shapes our lives and are maintaining our inequality. And it's true. I mean, it's even to the point where, a lot of women don't even want to go out at night in certain neighborhoods. Are they're just so terrified if they don't go out with a guy or a couple of guys or, a big dog or a gun or something, they don't even want to leave their house because they feel like prisoners because of the way that men act and treat them. It's terrible. Yes, that's true, Nino. They call the minors fast because the little girls get coerced into something by grown ass men. And then, they want to say that there's something wrong with the girl. No, it's something wrong with him. Why is an adult male hitting on a 13-year-old girl? What's wrong? These women's minds are just all kinds of fucked up. They don't even see stuff the way that it really is. It's like no man who is proud of himself and is a really true man would do that. His job is to protect children, not to victimize them. Come on now. But you want to turn around and levy the charge on the little girl. It's like, oh my God. Okay, next slide. Now, this is how she says that it may have a logical explanation for men, and she calls it, uh, what she call it? Well, anyway, basically saying it's inconsistent with their beliefs, and that may be like the second component of why men struggle with believing it because in their minds, they have to deny it because it means then that men, the way that he was raised to believe that men are, isn't true. And he so women already don't need them for economic things, right? So the only way really that men can prove themselves to be manhood in this modern age is by being a protector. So if you have millions of men who are not protectors and they're not providers, then what does that mean has happened to manhood? The men are in a quandary right now and at a crossroads. So they're going to have to either get these other dudes in check or they're going to have to redefine manhood, which is what I think they're doing. Why so many of them are on this trans train and trying to become women now because they realize the road to manhood is blocked now. It's like they have blocked it themselves because of their ignorant behavior towards women. So to try to say that there's a definitive masculinity and manhood when men aren't protecting, they're more the predators and they aren't providing because women can make their own money. It leaves these men adrift. They don't know what to do with themselves. So rather than try to figure it out, they just decide just to throw up their hands and become women. That's what they're doing. It's just really sad. Oh, and this is what I was talking about earlier. So this, to me, is at the core of why so many black men and brown men are stuck on stupid and so into harassing women and assaulting women and saying inappropriately sexual things to women and girls because they have all these traditional gender ideals. Like women should be pretty. If you like talk like that, you act too mannish. You're too masculine. You're too this and you're too that. And so they want to put women in this little tiny box. And anytime you want to step out of it, they're very, very uncomfortable. So they try to dominate and control you and put you back in the box by using their dick, by using their muscles, by using harsh words to try to demean you and degrade you and make you feel like you're nothing, like you're less than them, so that they feel big and bad and like they're really somebody, a man. This is a picture of Tarana Burke. She is the founder of the actual Me Too movement, which is, you know, what she started, which is what Melissa Milano kind of got into the mainstream last year when she started that thing after Harvey Weinstein got charged with coercion and sexual harassment of women in his movie company. And then I have some quotes from some sisters that I got from a magazine, from an article that was published in uh, HuffPo, and they collected 10 stories from women of color. Most of them were Asian, though, not only two black ones. But I picked out what the black women had to say. And this one sister, she's like, I don't know if black women have felt heard in a long time. We lack the empowerment to come forward from a deeper place. It's more than being a woman and it's more than shame. It's not being raised to know that there is power in speaking up. We're conditioned to think power never cycles to us. And that was so true because when you think about how black girls, like you report something, right? What do you hear? For well, you need to be quiet about that because it's already enough black men in the criminal justice system. It's no big deal. That happens to everybody. Or they say the girl was fast, so they try to flip it around and make it her fault. So either way, there's this wall that goes up to protect black males from being responsible for the sexual victimization of black women and girls. And that's what she's saying. There's no power in speaking up because even when you do speak up, a lot of times you're not believed because of all the stereotypes associated with black women and sexuality. Like, there's some Jezebel, or, we inspire lust in men and all this stuff, all these negative things about black women and their sexuality and their physicality. So I know exactly what she meant, and it was infuriating. Another sister, she works as an administrative assistant in New York. She said, I've learned quite early that black women's bodies are typically only sought after for pleasure, not for love. So when a man reacts in a particular way, he's reinforcing what I already know, that my black body is a mere sexual object for him. Now, isn't that the saddest thing? So it's like, we know, like, these guys, that's all they do. I mean, look at all the videos I've covered where they try to set women up to be used and for sex, and their minds controlled and pimped, and for some place to stay and money and stuff. They're not looking at, this is a woman who can add to my life, and she's someone I can love and have children with and live with for the rest of my life, and we can adore each other and this and that. They don't look at it that way. They look at it as, you're somebody to victimize, you're someone to use to make themselves feel better, or to get you know I don't know, Tanisha, I don't know, because I'm not on the chat. I have a different software I use. It's just terrible. And I think I have one more. Oh no, okay, so that's it. That's it for the slides. We're done. Woohoo! All right. Um, and then let me do, there's some more stories here that I wanted to share with you because I wanted to give some of these as examples for what to do. Um, What is what? So why did I mark that? Oh, this is what I was talking about. How black women are conditioned to not report such things. Growing up with older guys from the hood, they grab your butt or physically assault you in some way. I didn't even talk about it. I didn't see it being addressed. I saw it happen a lot to young girls, but it would sound like I'm trying to play oppression Olympics. When I try to say that for young black girls, it's hard to come forward. It can be met with, "Do you think it's easy for young black guys in the hood?" I get that, but that's not what I'm saying. And so, that's what she's talking about. It's everything about us is always subjected to being dominated and overtalked by the needs or desires of black women, men rather. So we're like kind of pushed aside. This lady, she's a Latina, and she says, last year I was dating a white dude, real casually. We were starting to get to know each other, and we were making out. And he says to me, "Can you say something in Spanish?" And I was like, "That's the end of this date. This is not okay." And he was like, "Well, what happened?" I told him, "We were having a great time until you made me feel like a fetish right now. So I'm totally turned off." And she says that's happened to her twice. Okay, what? I mean, that'd be like somebody getting with a sister talking about, work your neck and, call me a motherfucker or something like that. I mean, it's the same thing. Stop with the fetishizing. I mean, women are women. Um, this woman says, so white on black and black on black harassment all have different undertones, but it's all harassment. Working in media, I was often the token. You just smile it off and laugh it off. It's a tough industry to work in. There was a director when I first started out as a producer who harassed my coworker and me. He touched us inappropriately and often harassed us. Can you imagine if Me Too had happened when we were working there? Okay, now what could they have done? They could have, when he reached his hand out to touch him, grabbed his fingers and bent them back. Keep your hands to yourself. And all women should take self defense courses too, because they teach you little things like that. You know, um, little quick things to do to kind of incapacitate dudes without really leaving a mark and without saying that they were attacked. But it keeps them to, teaches them to keep their hands to themselves, or they risk being brought to their knees in pain. One woman, where's that story about the lady? Hold on, let me find it. This whole article, I don't even know where I got this. It's called "The Stories About Men That We Never Tell." It came out right after the Me Too. Oh, it's talking about some stories that were printed in Elle magazine. Um, this girl says, I was 19. I was trying to work as an actress in Los Angeles. I was meeting with a potential agent about representing me, and he said, the amazing thing about you is that I can't tell if I want to fuck you or protect you like a little sister. It's embarrassing to even write that now. The most enraging part is that I took it as a compliment, something to be proud of, like, oh, I have this special quality. It makes me, and now that I'm older, it makes me want to scream at the younger me, that's not your value. I remember this guy, I used to consider him to be a friend. Let me tell you about this motherfucker. So we're hanging out at his house one day, and he always would introduce me to people like the sister he never had, and all this kind of stuff, right? And this went on. We were friendly with him for about 2 years. I would bring my daughter around with him. My husband knew him and everything. So then after my husband died, he was I mean, he was what I thought was a support system. But let me tell you what this motherfucker did. So it was maybe, I don't know, 6, 8 months after my husband died. So he calls me one day and he says, what you been up to, what you been doing. I'm like, oh, nothing much, because I really wasn't. I was, just getting out of the deep grief part. And he's like, well, are you seeing anyone yet? And I'm like, seeing somebody? I'm like, that's the furthest thing from my mind. I'm still waking up crying. You know what I mean? Let me tell you, this clown said to me, he says, well, if you're not going to give that thing to anybody, then you can give it to me. That's what he said to me. I was laying down. I sat up in the bed and proceeded to call him every kind of motherfucker, black monkey nigga I could think of. I mean, and I'm creative, so I came up with a whole bunch of them. And then I told him, don't you ever fucking call me again when we hang up this phone, because I'm going to tell you why. You claim that I'm like a sister to you, yet you come at me like that, you incestuous freak, and say, if you, my thing is, if you think you're gonna talk to me like that, and you supposed to be like a sister, I'm supposed to be like a sister to you, then what might you do to my daughter, motherfucker? I would cut your dick off, cut your balls off, and stuff them down your throat, and help you bleed out. Now, that's why we're not going to talk anymore, because I'm not trying to go to prison. I'm not trying to do that. So you stay away from me. You definitely stay away from my daughter. If I see you on the street, I might run you down my car. So just stay the fuck away from me. And that was it. He said he could try to call me. He tried to email me. He even tried to fax me. You've got a fax where you can block numbers on your fax machine, because I used to work at home. And I blocked him on every avenue, and he never knew where I lived. So, you know, he should. I didn't want to touch him because some of that nastiness might have jumped off of him onto me. I was never so disgusted. I felt my skin just crawl. I just was so grossed out. It was nasty, you know. And yeah, but I called him so many names. And you all know my mouth. You know my creative name calling. I went in on him like there was nobody's business. I just felt this rage. Like, how dare you say something like that to me? And then it really made me worried, like if he would say something like that to me and cross that boundary with me, what boundaries might he cross with my little daughter? And see, then I would be in prison. And y'all would have never met me, because I would have been, premeditated murder one case. And I would have been in there forever. Yeah, I called as a monkey motherfucker. I sure did. But okay, so that's one. Okay, then here's this one. And I'm gonna tell you guys what to do if somebody does this to you. Back in 1985, I worked for a senator. I was 22. The head of quote armed services for the senator who I reported to asked me to deliver briefing papers to his home, as he had not come in to work that day. This was before the internet and email. Yeah, 85. I took the DC Metro to his apartment, and I still remember his exact home, furniture and all. He was sitting on his black leather couch drinking a scotch on the rocks. He asked me to sit down. Within 5 minutes, he literally grabbed my hand and stuck it down his pants. I was horrified. Now, I must say he was very attractive, 38 years old and quite accomplished. Nevertheless, I was horrified and grabbed my hand back to my possession, and somehow I had the strength and fortitude to leave. Within 2 days, I was reporting to someone else in the office because she didn't play along. Now, this is what you do. Okay, you got to be cool. If some man does something like that to you and he puts your hand in contact with his genitals in any way, you just be calm. Don't freak out. Stand up. Say, stand up. Get him. If he's sitting down, have him stand up. You grab a hold of his balls and then you drop to the ground. Just faint, just fall straight fucking back. And hope that his testicles and everything that's connected to him becomes separated from his fucking body. And that's what he's going to get. He'll be in the hospital for weeks. He may require surgery, but by in any event, he will have a hard time explaining how you stuffed his hands down your hand down his pants against your will. See, that's how you handle some motherfucker like that. Grab and fall. Grab and fall. And if he doesn't, like if you're sitting down, you can still roll off the couch or off the chair. That's not as far. He won't be as hurt, but it'll still hurt. He'll still remember that what he did and how wrong it was. I bet you his fucking ass won't do that again because we walking around with his dick in bandages for at least 2 months. Motherfucker. Okay, this lady says this once I was a few years into my career in advertising. I was on a conference call about a future project. I'm terrible. I'm telling you, I am a terrible person and have no fucks given. So she says the client was a few minutes late to join, and to ease the tension, he joked, "Hey there, lady, are you still engaged?" "Yep, I'm still engaged," I replied as everyone chuckled. At this point, the executive producer I was working with jumped in and said, "But if that's going to interfere with the success of this job, we can see what we can do." Like I was something to be bartered. After the same guy drunkenly felt me up in a bar one night, as well as a few of our clients. He was shipped off to the West Coast after it was decided his style is more LA. Now, what could she have done when her producer said that? She could have said, "Fuck off, Joe," in the same little chuckle voice that he used. So he would have known what time it was, and they would have known that you ain't that girl, you ain't that chick. Don't fuck with me like that. Or she could say, "Even if I wasn't engaged, I would still never date either one of you." See that face? Remember Eddie Murphy in that movie where he was like, one of them kind of laughs. You don't be afraid. So you guys, that's why I'm giving you guys I want your mind to start thinking in advance of how you will handle situations so that when it happens to you, if it happens to you, you'll already have a script running in your head. You'll go right into it like remote, right? Remote control. You mash that button and it'll start coming out. That's why I'm like, you got to do yeah, they understand aggression and they understand shade, because that's how men do each other. They understand it. And, you got to watch your posture too. When you're in meetings with men, sit back in a chair like this. Don't lean all, like you like closed body like a lot of women like to do. Lean back and take up space. If you notice how men do in meetings, they take up space. They open their legs real wide. They do that man spread thing. You do that shit too. Don't ever go to a meeting wear a skirt. Wear pants. Even if you wear some high heels and stuff, you wear pants. And then you sit just like a dude. Rear back in your chair and look at them with disdain down your nose like how they do you. They do that shit to each other too. But you do it too. Let them know, I ain't that bitch. Okay? You're not going to fuck with me. Not like that. You're going to have to come with a harder game than that. But they'll try to do that, with their body language. Okay, let me see another one because I circled a couple of them that I thought were good examples to give to you guys. Okay, here's one. The waist squeezer is called. I was once on a set for a popular TV show. This dude invited me to his room to read lines. Nothing happened, but I got the sense that he was flirting with me. Why would he be flirting? I was married and so was he. And we'd only known each other for a couple of days. I wasn't sending him them kind of signals. When I got up to leave his room, he was ready for the scene we were going to shoot together. He squeezed my waist a little. He seemed to be looking for an opening, testing the waters, wanting me to make a move. It was gross. I left the room. Up until the day I left that shoot, he would squeeze my waist a little in photos. And he wasn't the only man on the set that made me uncomfortable. I could go on. Okay, now what do you do in a situation like that? Okay, some man puts his hands on you, it makes you uncomfortable. What do? You do what she didn't do. You say, "Get your fucking hands off of me. I'm going off script right now," but you keep your fucking hands to yourself. The only man who touches me is my husband, and you ain't him. Okay? And you got to say it forcefully, not timidly and not like, I don't really like that. Can you not do that? Like you ask him. You don't ask his permission. You don't ask him to treat you with respect. You tell monkey motherfuckers how to treat you. Keep your goddamn hands to yourself. Don't you ever touch me again. And we're going to have a problem. And it put there, and so then if you did it to one, he would tell the others. Or you could go out there and say, I just had this interesting exchange with dude. He thought he was supposed to be putting his hands on me. Let me tell you about all, I'm going to tell all y'all right now at the same time. Don't you ever touch me. If I'm not involved with you and I'm a married woman, so that's the only person who's going to be touching me is my husband, that means all you motherfuckers keep your hands to yourself. Don't you touch me. You touch me, we're going to have a problem. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to tell him. No, you don't have to slap him. You tell him with your words first. If he does it again, then you hit him. Of course, when I was 19, of course. But he grabbed my boob. That was different. And he did like in front of, 80 people in the trading room. So, he got his eye blacked, but, that was a different situation. So he didn't touch her any sexual part, her boobs or butt. You just grab no coochie. He didn't put his hand or her hand on his dick or nothing. He put his hand on her waist. So, that was inappropriate for a work relationship, but it wasn't, you see what I mean? It wasn't overtly like a sexual part of her body. So you were using words in a situation like that is best, but you also put everybody else on notice too. Don't you do that? I don't know what he saw me as, Van, but he sure did get a feeling for what a black eye felt like. I'll tell you that. Um, And this girl, now I liked how she did that. She says, I was 23. I was sent by a respectable employment agency for an interview to be the personal assistant of a CEO of a well known company. During my interview in his beautifully appointed office, I asked what my duties would be, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Well, you can help me pick my tie in the morning." I said, "No thanks," and out I went. The employment agency never sent me again. Ha ha! Yeah, because that's how first you picking they, then the next thing you know, you're gonna be coming to their house. They're gonna be walking around in their boxer shorts, till you gotta pick their suit. I mean, it just escalates. So she cut his ass off at the knees. I'm not gonna pick your tie. What, you don't know how to dress yourself at 40 years old? That's what your wife is supposed to do, not your secretary or personal assistant or whatever. This dude says, I was an intern for an international conference, and one of my jobs was to run a microphone in the main conference room. There was an older man who would constantly make comments about my appearance every morning as he walked in. It made me uncomfortable, but it never seemed to warrant a response. I wonder why she thought that. One day, however, during a particularly dry lecture, he leaned back in his chair and asked me to take a few steps away from the wall where I was standing with the microphone towards him because he, quote, wanted a better view. I just gave him a curt smile before taking a few steps away from him. I never said anything because I genuinely believed he wouldn't understand how undermining his statement was. Now, see, you thought that he didn't understand. See, that's another thing women feel like, he doesn't understand. Don't you understand they're doing the shit on purpose? I stop giving them credit like they're stupid and they don't know what they're doing. They know very well what they're doing. He probably said that it took him all them weeks to plan what he was going to say to you. He did that shit intentionally. So, he wanted a better view. What might I have said about that? Well, you better go get your bifocals in so that could happen with your old geezer ass. That might be something I would say. I would have to do something about his. She says he was an older man, so I would have to make some kind of crack about him. Needing bifocals, cataracts. I mean, I would have to do something. He's like, yeah, I guess you would need to see something up close with all them fucking cataracts and shit you got in your eyes. You can't see shit, you old fucker. You know what I mean? It's like these old dudes, man, you just gotta hurt their feelings. You have to go and hurt their feelings and not be ashamed of doing it. You don't have to say fucker. I mean, that's me. But you got to say something to them that's going to crack their face and hurt their feelings and make their ego shrivel up. That's what you do. It's like, just especially when they old, you just like open fucking season. No, it's like, something about his depends or something. I don't know. So there's something, some kind of crack you could make about him relating to his age and his undesirability because of it. Just hurt his feelings. Let me see. Is that the only one I had? Oh, this one. I was a junior art director and had spent all night working on a pitch deck that would be presented to a client in person at their offices. I was not usually asked to attend these meetings, but this time my boss asked if I would join because the client was difficult but, quote, liked pretty young women. Well, then you put on a wig and you go, okay? Because you look more like a pretty young woman than I do. Freak. Oh my God, can you imagine people saying this? And that's the thing, they say this shit like it's supposed to be a compliment. Like you're supposed to be like, pleased about it or something. That he's trying to pimp you to get him some business. He's trying to, make it look, use you like you're being pimped. That's simply what it is. My boss, who is a grandfather, maybe 65, touches me unnecessarily all the time. Usually puts his hand on my bare arm or my lower back. Recently, he stood behind me and touched my shoulders and moved his hand down to the underside of my bare arm while verbally praising my hard work directly in sight of my subordinate at work. I pulled away but didn't say anything because I know he wants to be liked. Why do you give a fuck what he wants? He wants to be liked and you want to be felt on because he wants to be liked. See, you can't be like this. Don't be like this. Do not be weak like this. Okay, when he started touching, you're supposed to say, turn around and face him, look him in his eyes and said, why we work together? I'm not your wife. I'm not nothing to you except an employee. I want you to keep your hands to yourself. Don't you ever do that again. You don't touch me to make a point or touch me at any other time. Am I making myself clear? Yes. Okay. Because you know what's going to happen again. If you do it again, I'm going to hurt you. Because then I'm going to feel like you're assaulting me and I have a right to defend myself. So don't say anything if I pick up something and bop you upside the head so that you have a big bruise on your head. You will have asked for it. I'm warning you now. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't you touch me anymore. Yeah, I hate people touching me. I mean, half the time, shit. Even my daughter was a baby and stuff. I got touched out because you nurse them and you got to pick them up and carry them every damn where and stuff. I mean, it was like I just got touched out. I didn't want nothing to touch me. Don't touch. I didn't even want clothes. I was walking around naked. I didn't want no. I didn't want anything touching my skin at all. And that's just how I felt. I mean, I got to that point. So I just said this real thing. I don't want strange men touching me. I don't know where your hands have been, and I don't know what your intentions are. You letting people like this get up too close to you girls, and the next thing you know, you're gonna be grabbed and dragged somewhere or stuck with something or something. You know what I mean? Do not let motherfuckers get that close to you that you don't know, and especially if you by yourself. And this lady was telling me about what's going on at her job. Now, this is a female harassing her. The girl is, buxom. She's, but she dresses nice and she dresses appropriately for her size that she has. She can't do anything about that. I mean, it is what it is. But she has a female supervisor who focuses so much on this girl's chest. It's unbelievable. She's always talking about, you should wear a blazer or, that's showing too much cleavage or, you're so large there and this and that, blah, blah, blah. So she's always focusing on this employee's breasts. Okay, I mean, like every day, this woman is hearing something about her chest from this supervisor. So it's become this thing. Like, I'm like, okay, she need to go file a report with HR on her, and have an attorney draft it up so that it has some legal weight behind it, because that's sexual harassment. If a woman feels uncomfortable at work and is talking about something about her body, that's inappropriate. And it's not like she's walking in there looking like a stripper at a bar or something. She's dressed in her corporate attire. The fact that she has, whatever size breasts that she has, that's just what it is. I mean, some people have, A cups and other people have triple D's or E's or whatever. I mean, that's just what it is. You deal with it. How's my work? How do I interact with the clients? I mean, what's going on there? Let's talk about that. As a supervisor, that's all you need to talk about. So, she's focusing on the girl's chest and shit. I'm like, what the hell is this? So, in essence, my young people, it seems like this is something that's extremely prevalent. Okay, if you're a young woman and you're listening to this, you're going to inevitably run into some man, maybe even a woman, who is inappropriate with you in your workplace. Now, you walk up and down the street, there's not too much you can do about it, although in some municipalities they are enacting laws and such. Street harassment is a misdemeanor, and people can get a ticket and fined and all this kind of stuff. If that would go national, it would be fabulous. Um, but you have protections under the law in your workplace. Refer to slide number 1, or like I said, go directly to the EEOC website. The thing that I must implore you to do is to stop being afraid. Okay, this is not your personal relationship. This is your workplace. You have protections there and you have rights there that you may not have in a private relationship at your house. Okay, that's what's going to be worked out between the two of you. There are certain laws about, physical assaults and stuff like that, but I'm talking about touching you, saying inappropriate things, showing you inappropriate things, inappropriate pictures, referencing things, making inappropriate gestures. All those kinds of things are considered sexual harassment, and you have rights. Please do what you can do to collect the evidence that you need, either pictures, I'll give on your work at your work, have your Google phone number. So if anybody gets your number, what are they gonna be calling? Your Google phone number. If they have to leave a message, where they gonna be leaving it? On your Google voicemail. And if you will have a printout of every time they called, how long the calls were, where the number originated from, and the message that they left, and it will stay there for eternity if you leave it there. So you can always use it later. You have got to have a Google number. And it's so ironic that today, I mean, I always recommend this product to protect women from sexual harassment and stuff like that. And Google is in the news today as being the very company that their own employees are up in arms about them not following through and protecting the female employees from sexual harassment. So it's kind of ironic. Actually, it's very ironic, but it is what it is. That don't have nothing to do with my recommendation for of a Google number to protect you, and I still advocate that. A standard form that anyone can use. Okay, that sounds good. I can put it up on the I can put a link to it up. I can put it on my web server and put a link up on in the community here on to for the people to see. Your manager said it was weird because I didn't want him to touch you. Why should you want to touch him? Is that like part of your job or something? Do you get a $5,000 bonus with every each and every touch? I mean, I charge to touch me. That's the one way to do it. I charge to touch me. You touch my hand is $500. You touch my waist is $2,000. You touch any other part of me is $150,000 because that's how much I'm gonna sue you for each time you do it. So think about that before you reach your hand out. Plus, I'm gonna tell your wife, and I'm gonna tell your mama, and I'm gonna go to your kids' school, and I'm gonna tell everybody at their school too what kind of shit stain their father is. So think about that, because I will do it. Ah, okay. I don't know. These men, something's wrong with them. But I think the main thing is, what I keep seeing here is young women not really knowing what to do, okay, and then being afraid to do anything. So that's one reason why I wanted to do this. We went over a lot of examples of stuff that actually happened to women, and to give you guys some ideas about how to think about it and what you should never, ever, ever tolerate. You know, exactly. You go right to human resources with your evidence. And if they do not respond appropriately, like if you work for a company and they don't have a sexual harassment policy in place, which most do these days, then suggest that they get one, and that all employees have like a training. They will bring people in to train you or put together like course materials that you can do like online that will teach like little modules that your staff can do to learn about sexual harassment. And you have got to, if you're a supervisor and you have problems like this, you need to respond. Not only are you, if you failure to respond, can put you at make you legally vulnerable because your employer reported it to you. If you don't handle it correctly, and your company may not indemnify you, so the employee can sue you personally. So please make sure if you have policies in place that you adhere to them. Even if you don't, cover your own ass and report it to your superiors in written form. Do it in an email so that you have a paper trail. I'm telling you, like if you're a first line supervisor, that's what you got to do because you want to cover your ass. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. Make sure you report it. I mean, in detail, and do it as soon as possible. Don't wait. Don't try to brush it under the rug. If it dies at some point above you, that's fine. You off the hook. But don't you think that you gonna protect the male employees and do all this stuff, and the upper people never hear about it, because then that's gonna be your ass. That's not what you do. Let's see. Somebody asked, "What should I do?" Okay, wait. Somebody's been trying to sabotage you. I'm having trouble at work. A supervisor who is a woman is trying to get me fired. We were friendly at first, but that changed for some reason in July. She's trying to sabotage me. She's a supervisor I don't even report to, and she won't even leave me alone and continue to harass me. I reported her actually to HR, and she actually had someone in IT scan my work emails and caught it on video with my smartphone. Now she knows about it. It's trying harder to get me terminated. What can I do? You should be seeing an attorney. That's what you should be doing. And you should be going down, discuss it with an attorney, because that's harassment. Can you relate it? Are you of a minority race? What is the races of the two people involved? Please tell me that, because that could give you extra uh, ammunition. Like if you are a person of color and she is white, or she's somebody other race, um, you know, Mila, what's the race of this person? You ain't answering. Yeah, you have to, you have to do stuff in writing, and make sure, like, if anything, any evidence that you have, don't keep it at work. Any emails that you have, from this woman, or any notations, or anything, any kind of documentation, make sure you store it on your Google Drive, okay, in the cloud. You log on through your browser. Make sure that your browser does not store the password. Tell it never. When it asks you want to save this password, say never. Because if she has a friend in IT, then they can get into it. Okay, so never, never, ever. And it's probably even better to make sure that you do use a phone or whatever. But you're going to forward emails to yourself on your private email, and then you save them on your hard drive if she sends them to you at work. But she hasn't told me yet. I'm still looking for the race of the people. She hasn't said that yet. I keep asking. What is the race of these people, Mila? Mila. I'm still Mila. Okay, there she is. I'm black and she is black. Oh, one of them nigresses. Okay. Oh, okay, and she's older than you? She's definitely jealous. She's definitely jealous. Yeah, I don't be tee hee hee. That's my sister's favorite word. She don't say tee hee hee. Okay, wait. Tisha said what? If your supervisor in another department is getting his subordinates, male and female, to mess with you, I would write them an email, and I would see, all of them, and say, and outline what they've been doing in the email, and say, we don't even work in the same department. I'm aware of, the fact that I think that you're doing this at the direction of your supervisor. I would like you to know that what you're doing right now is against the law, and I do intend to pursue this action legally. I would suggest, unless you want to be part of the lawsuit and named on a personal basis, that you cease and desist. If this person has a problem with me, they need to handle it like an adult with me and not involve you in it, because what's going to do is going to put you and your job and your income and your homes and everything else at risk when I file this lawsuit. So you need to back down. Okay, that's what you do first. Even if it's not true, it's going to scare them. So they'll be scared. They'll say, well, we can't do it. She's going to sue you. And then we know I can't lose my house. I can't lose my job, my kids. Okay, so they'll be out of it. Then you can just go after her, and chances are it's a little bitch, because otherwise, they would have enough nerve. So then you write to this person. You want a paper trail, so you do all this in writing. Don't speak to them. Don't speak to any of them verbally, because then they're going to misconstrue. They're going to misquote. They're going to say you said something you didn't say. Do not speak to these people at all. Don't say good morning, good night, nothing. Don't say shit to them. Every communication that you have with them, you need a paper trail. You need it to be in writing. So that for that supervisor in another department, You write to your supervisor, and then you to that person, and you CC your supervisor, and then you CC the supervisor above them, and you outline what's been going on, and say, I'm very curious to understand why this behavior is being tolerated. I'm not even in this individual's department, and it's gone so far as they've had their minions involved in this kind of harassment of me. This is definitely an actionable behavior under the law, under harassment laws, and I would like to find out what it is that you intend to do about this before I see my attorney. And that puts them all the motherfuckers on notice that just calling them out. Don't run hiding and scared. That's what they depend on, the passive aggressive types. They want to start a bunch of shit and throw rocks and then hide their hands. When you crack your knuckles and put the asses out on Front Street, they don't know what to do. They start denying and hiding and hobbling and doing all kind of stuff because you done outed them. And there's nothing they can do. So if they're going to continue the harassment, now everybody knows what they're doing. So right now, you telling me, but you're not telling anybody in a position to do anything about it. So you, like I said, you write to them. First, you write to their employees and threaten them what's going. The second email is to that person, CCing your supervisor and CCing whoever's the supervisor above both of them. Okay, and then you put them on there too, and then you outline all the things that they've been doing, so this, and say, like I said, that you're curious to know why this person is so, antagonistic towards you when you're not even in the department and have no responsibility with them at all, to their department at all, and this seems to be more of a personal matter, which is really, just harassment in the workplace, and is creating a hostile work environment for you, which is a violation of Title VII laws. So they need to stop doing that. Okay, go to sleep. Goodness gracious. Okay, I got that. Yeah, two negresses. Well, the one negress and a black person with some sense. Yes. Okay, but what you need to do, um, you would want to keep elect. Did you print the headers? See, that's why I like to just forward stuff, because that way you keep those headers intact, because then they can always say that it's something that you fabricated, since all you have is a printout. That's why you don't do it that way. You take the electronic files and you file for them to yourself on your Google, and then you save them on your Google Drive, because that way if you ever had to prove that it keeps a trail of which servers it originated from, the time, all the connections as it bounced from server to server, and IP addresses and everything are in those electronic headers. You might need that if you have to go to court. Otherwise, they can throw it all out, because they can say that you made it up and you don't have a record of it. So don't do it that way. That's what I'm telling you. You got to forward your shit to your private and personal email account. I mean, it's not going to hurt you to print them out, but if they still have them emails, you need to forward them to yourself when you get to work tomorrow. Okay, I have heard of a situation at a former job when a black male director was covering for another black male who was harassing a black woman. He was telling her not to complain because it was hard for black men in a position of power. Okay, well, see, that's another one. That's when you do the email thing I'm talking about. You write to the dude who's harassing you, and you write to the other guy quoting what he told you, and said, I feel that was very inappropriate. You're a supervisor, you are a director, part of your responsibility is to uphold the law and protect the employees, but instead you're protecting the harasser. I reported this to you on blah 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 day at blah 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 time. My next action is going to be to file a claim of sexual harassment with Department of Fair Employees, Employment and Housing slash EEOC, whatever. I mean, here in California, we have two. We have the federal EEOC, and we also have the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, which is where you file first. That's a state thing. And then if, we usually don't have to get the EEOC involved, but some states don't have that. So you just file with the EEOC. It's immediately a federal thing. And yeah, but that's how you call him out and put his ass on Front Street. You guys have got to stop being afraid. Stop being afraid and put everything in writing. Keep notes of dates and times. Like the day, in that email, you would say, well, I sat down with you, Bill, and I reported to you what Harry was doing to me. And, and I outlined all the things, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. And your response, which I was so shocked about, was not to do much about it because things are hard for a black man. Well, what about me, Bill? What about me? You're putting Harry's desire to harass me over mine to feel safe and productive at my workplace. Somehow that just doesn't seem fair, Bill. So I think I need to see an attorney, Bill. Bill's about to get fucked, and Harry too. Yeah, she's an old, dried up, crunchy bitch. That's what her problem is. She's jealous. They were friends at first. Well, see, that's why you don't be friends with no bitches at your job. Keep telling y'all, you can't be friends with you just can't. These people just they something about them. They're so envious and insecure. So if they see that you get too much attention, people like you more than they like them. You get invited to parties and lunch, and people want to do stuff with you after work and stuff. Or you get a new outfit and your legs look cute in your little skirts and heels or something. You never know what's gonna flip a bitch out. And then they just get old and they get really insecure. Instead of looking at themselves as a mature woman and being like a resource for you, a protector for you, a mentor for you, someone who can help guide you to grow and be successful and all this. That's how I view myself. I know I'm old and I know I'm an evil asshole sometimes, but I still see my role as one to bring young women along so you don't have to make the mistakes I made and the mistakes I've seen hundreds of thousands of people make over the last almost 30 years through my advice column. This make people from all over the world. You don't have to make those mistakes. You can make some different ones that I haven't talked about, but you're not gonna make those. Not if I have anything to do with it. But you can't be worried about that about them being friends because no matter what you were in the past, you ain't that now. So don't worry about it. But this is why I'm saying be very careful about who you associate with at work and tell about your business and let into your private world. Going to your house and all this old shit. Don't be doing that. They might be jealous because you got some original artwork or something. I don't know. Just people be tripping. You have a black male supervisor pull the race card with you. That's black man's secret wrestler. Yep, it is. Emails can be changed and sent everywhere. Yeah, but not if you have all the trails and stuff, not through Google. And so she sent it from her work server and forwarding it to herself in Google. Does she have a background as a hacker? No. Come on now. Stop worrying. See, that's one of that fear mongering shit. Don't worry about that. Because then they would ask you, well, how do you change a header and how do you mask a IP address? You can be like, I don't know, what's that? How do you do that? And you won't know, and they won't have any evidence that you know. So then don't worry about it. So that's don't worry about that. Forward your shit to your house, to your private email. A black man at work waits for me at the time clock to sexually harass me. I report him so many times. Sees that I'm married and not interested. He doesn't care. I told him. He told me I will have his baby. He said that to you? Okay, remember what I said about the recording? We got to find that app. God, I don't remember what it is. But anyway, turn your phone on and have it conveniently in your hand, right? So he might not notice the phone is recording. So it's in your hand while you at the time clock, right? And you have it like this, like it's, facing you or whatever, and you're recording him. You can see a corner of him in the video, right? Shh, recording him saying this stuff. And then when you get it, you send it to everybody in the company. That's what I would do. Everybody would get that email and say, this is the kind of stuff that I have to be subjected to. I've reported it several times to HR and they've done nothing about it. Humiliate his ass. That's what I would do. Because, they're not going to do nothing about it. You do something about it. And what they going to say? Well, you shouldn't have done that. Yeah, well, he shouldn't have done what he did that I wouldn't have had anything to record, right? And maybe if you had stepped up and done something about it when I reported to you all the other 11 times, then this wouldn't have happened. So don't try to make it be like it's my fault because I clowned him to make him stop. Don't try to do anything retaliatory either because then we really will be in court. So you better take the L and just go on and let his ass be humiliated and embarrassed for acting a fool at work. He's been vandalizing your car. Oh, girl, you need to change jobs. Now, this motherfucker's crazy then. Now it's time to change jobs. Mm-mm. Nope. Evidence and recording, yep. Oh, only one. Oh, Texas got a good law. Look at them. They ain't gonna pull that race car because they be trying to guilt trip black women into doing stuff for them and protecting them and all that old shit. And it's like, why should you do that? What's he doing for you? You couldn't prove it, so they couldn't fire him. That's why you got to do what I said and make recordings. You make recordings, secret recordings of them doing it. That's your proof. Hmm. Your supervisor took you to HR. Okay, so this, but he won't stop. How old is this dude, Tisha? Now you don't want them to know that you were offended because that's their point. That's their goal. You basically are telling him that he accomplished his goal. That's not what you say. You don't say offended. You say disgusted because I would. You're just a creepy weirdo. It's like why? Oh, I'm glad. These jobs. I tell you, that's what's good about working in the government and working contract. Because I don't really give a fuck. Because, if they don't act right, then you just work contract. You just, end the contract for any reason. And you already paid me my money, so you violated the contract, then I'm keeping all your money and I'm not giving you shit for it. You think that's bad? I'm going to have everything in writing. I'm just walking off and I'm taking my money, your money with me when I go. Yeah, a camera that records, huh? They do have those kind of record like inside and outside, but she would have to get one for each side, like the front and the back, because the most of them are just in the front. They go in the rear view mirror. They on, and they only record the front. But yeah, that's a good idea, lady boss. So that would get evidence of him vandalizing her car. That's a police matter. So you could make him pay for the damages too. You have one now? Okay, good. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, this one, you 28, 20. Oh, he's young and stupid. Oh, those are the worst ones. Um, and it just really makes it hard because when you have people like that, they don't realize, okay, here you a black man, right? They already don't want to hire niggas. Then here you come up there and they finally, they relent and hire your ass, and then you act a fool. So then you think they're gonna hire any more black men? You just fucked it up for hundreds of them now because that word's gonna spread. They go to networking events and they go to the Chamber of Commerce meetings and they have buddies they play golf with and stuff. Yeah, Bob, we hired this little black guy and I thought he was going to be something. But I brought him in there and he was harassing the female employees. He was even vandalizing their car. I was like, my God, you're putting my company at risk. Bob, I just didn't know what to do, so we had to fire the young lad. See? And then they'd be like, damn, niggas are stupid. And then the rest of them, they going to be like, well, we ain't taking that chance because, they thinking about how many lawsuits they're going to have to do and how many payouts they're going to have. And it's like a losing proposition. So then no niggas get a job because y'all don't know how to act when you get somewhere. Oh my God. Yeah, you got to have a defense. You got to come up with some options. I wish more women had written me to give me some examples. I had to go online to find most of those stories. Um, but those are the things that you have to be able. The younger ones are different because the older ones tend to be married, so they're more likely to be threatened if their wife and family and her taking half. They get worried about that kind of stuff. But the young ones, they ain't married, they don't have nothing to lose, they just stupid. you know he's late entertaining himself. Oh my God. Why though? Are they scared to say fuck you, the girls? I think so. I think they are. Yeah, they don't want to hire, because they paying you to do some work, right? And you up here, all you can think about is your dick and some pussy. I'm not paying you to get your dick wet, nigga. Now they're not gonna say that to the man's face, but essentially that's what they're thinking. And then they get these complaints from the women, and then it's like you black men especially need to watch themselves because you the last hired. You go already, the first fired, the ones that they didn't want to get a job to in the first place. So then you get a job and then you fuck it up being stupid and chasing pussy on the job. Do that in your own time, motherfucker. There's work and then there's play. Separate the two. You don't bring your dick game to work. Okay, it's like too much pussy in other places in the world. You don't need to be chasing skirts at the job. That's the dumbest shit you could ever do. Then you get fired from that, and you try to get a job somewhere else. And they don't you think that company they gonna call and get a reference? And they gonna say, oh no, he was the worst employee we ever had in our life. We just want to shoot ourselves in the head for even thinking that he was gonna be somebody decent. He caused more trauma and drama up in here. We were so happy that motherfucker got fired. We don't know what to do. You want to hire him? Good luck. Click. And then they be, unemployed bum for the rest of his life, walking up and down the street with his pants sagging, and then pissing on himself and stuff. Just stupid. Just dumb. Yeah, they sag and see, but that's the company's fault because they don't have a dress code. If they had a dress code, then they couldn't do that. We don't care what you do outside, but when you have on our uniform, you're representing our company, and this is how you need to look at all times. This is how you need to act. This at all times, and this when the second you clock in to the second you drive off our lot, which is our property and still under our control, this is how you behave. Any deviation from that is immediate termination. And make that very clear. You're not going to be sagging and showing your ass up in here. You're not going to be hitting on the female employees and making them uncomfortable. You're not going to be doing any of those kind of things, or you're going to be the fuck up out of here. I'm telling you, I couldn't own a company because everybody would be running that shit like I was a general. They think it's well. See, there is a race card that they think is overused, but they should be able to see now in full view with Trump supporters that it's not being overused. It's very much alive and well. You know, it's suspicious that some little boy, that one of them Me Too, I mean not Me Too, one of the Ferguson activist son just was found swinging in a tree, and they're like, was it a lynching? Well, duh, what the fuck? Who else gonna put somebody in a tree? Niggas don't put themselves in trees. Come the fuck on, really? You had to think about that? You didn't know that? So that's what I'm saying. And then you got niggas over here acting stupid. And it's like it's never the ones that act stupid though. It's always the innocent ones, like his mother and parents trying to do something positive, and so the white people mad, so they gonna string the little boy up to try to send a message. And I tell you, boy, I'm so terrible. If you lynch somebody of mine, I'ma lynch your whole fucking family. Gonna be a whole bunch of white folks hanging from a tree. That's me. 'Cause, I'm not taking that. We're not gonna take that. And there's a lot of people be like, well, you shouldn't fight fire with fire. I don't fight fire with fire. I fight fire with a flamethrower. So if you think that's so cute and you think that that's good for you to do, well, then you should have no problem when I do the same thing. See, even the Bible, right? Eye for an eye, all that old stuff. So, I don't run scared from people. I'm not going to run scared from you. We're going to rumble. If that's what you want to do, let's go. So now you let that been my son and watch the fool I would have acted after I got finished crying, of course. Um, yeah, well, that's why you got to keep records. You know, try to keep exact records. Yeah, estimates are good. It happened if you can remember related to something like a project you guys were working on, maybe when a certain meeting happened. Then you can flip back in the calendar and get a closer idea. Was it a time where were out sick? Were they out? I mean, you try to see if you can relate it to something that happened in your life, or it's something that happened at work on an agenda or something, and then you can get narrow it down. I'm not even, this is just who I am. I've always been like that. I'm not going to take it. If I suffer, your ass is going to suffer three times as much as I did. So then I feel all right. Then I'll be okay. But underneath that, I don't know. I'm like, that's just how I do. And it's like, when you see somebody trying to get you at work, that's when you start documenting shit. And then I stop talking to people. I start taking every communication with them is in writing. They didn't want to come up and even ask you a question. I said, send me an email. Oh, well, but I'm right here. Yeah, but I'm so busy right now. I don't really have time to address it right now. So just send me an email and I'll answer you later. That's how you brush them off. Just blow them off and make them send you an email. Then they ask you stupid shit in the email, say some dumbass shit to you. Then you have a paper trail. Do not accept any verbal communications from them. I'm so busy, I can't. I'm about to make this phone call. Can you just send me an email? Up, I'm headed out to lunch. Up, it's headed to the bathroom. Up, I got to do whatever you got to do. Make them send you an email. You had that recording. Yeah, it's like they honestly think that they think because you're young that you're scared and dumb, which unfortunately a lot of young women are. But that's what I'm here to tell them. I'm trying to school y'all. You got some women in the chat room who also have that kind of experience. Okay, they trying to tell y'all, and it's going to require you to have like an Academy Award kind of Emmy type performance at your job, because you don't go into work being who you are around all them people. You put on a face. You get on a face, put on a face, and you just let them know what it is that they need to know. They don't need to know everything about you. They really don't need to really know much of anything about you. Yeah, you can. We used to have to go down to the EOC and file a report. Fill out the paperwork and meet with the investigator and all this stuff. If you had pictures, tapes, all the documents, you just talk everything through. They make notes, and then they take the packet and they do their investigation. And then once they conclude the investigation, they give you what's called a right to sue letter. Once you get that letter, that's what your goal is, to get that right to sue. You take that letter, you go to an attorney, and you sue the fuck out of them for harassment. Racial, sexual, gender, whatever you want. Wow, look what time it is. We've been talking, huh? But anyway, that's what you guys want to do. Um, you want to create a paper trail. You want to document everything that happens, everything that is said. You want to have your Google email address and your Google phone number, okay, in your HR records, especially if you work around a bunch of crazy niggas. You want to have your Google number as the number to contact you. Like I said, you can set up to ring to your phone, but they won't ever have your actual cell phone number. So you can always change your Google number, and then the same thing, they don't need to have your real cell phone number. So if you decide, they'll never get you on the Google number unless you answer it, and they have to announce who they are. So they say, please, say your name, just see if so and so is available or whatever. It says something like that, and so then they say their name, and if they don't say it, then you just reject the call. And then they'll never get you. They'll be mad, but they'll never get you. And they're not going to try to call you at work, because then there's, internal records of this, extension calling this extension 52 times. And then that's, firing right there, because that's on the job harassment, using their equipment to harass you. So most companies will take issue with that. You were dating your nursing supervisor? Oh, yes. No. Now, Annette, you know better. You never get your honey where you makes your money. Don't do that. Yeah, I just got, he lived across the street from me at one point, and he was trying to date me. I was like, no, Holmes, that's too close. And he's like, why? What's the matter? That's, I said, no. As it was, he used to watch my comings and goings and be calling, talking about, oh, I saw you left at such and such a time. I'm like, let me explain something to you. I'm not fucking you. So where I go and who I go with and when I come back and all of that is none of your goddamn business. Don't call me telling me where anything. I mean, I can't stop you from looking out the window and observing. But what I can do is tell you, don't you call me like you reporting, like I'm supposed to, like, you investigating where I've been, and I'm supposed to be telling you all my business. I don't. This shit'll never happen. Oh my God. Oh yes, Tisha. I have ADHD. I'm telling you, if the letter's too long, I can't handle it. Just give me the Cliff Notes version. People be saying, and then I said, and then I went over here, and then it was Thursday, and then it was sunny, and then the next day it rained. I don't need to know all that. I don't need to know all that. I don't need to know what friends was there. I don't need to know that you was at a party. I don't. Just tell me the issue, the one thing. That's it. But I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know I was all over the place because it's such a broad topic, but the focus was to discuss the Me Too movement, how it brought forth the issues that women being sexually harassed at work, how this impacts women of color even doubly, because you're going to get it not only from the white guys, you're going to get it from the black ones too, who are usually too afraid to harass the white girls. They don't, not trying to do that. They just stick with the black ones. And then how you can do things to put them in check and correct the behavior if you want to stay on that job and come out on top. Okay, you shut that shit down. So this is, I try to give you guys some ideas. If you have questions in particular about a particular issue, you can send that in. Try to be succinct as possible, and then I can maybe flesh it out or something if you didn't find the information that you needed here. Keep in mind that each state, in addition to federal laws about sexual harassment, may have other laws on top of those which augment and reinforce the behavior of companies who are doing business within that state. So check your state websites for any kind of policies and laws and regulations which might affect your employer about harassment and what what to do about it within your state. Also, take a look at what's on the EEOC website. They define sexual harassment and give you ideas also on what to do about correcting the matter if you need to take the legal route to do so. I took the hood route to show you how to shut motherfuckers down before it gets that far. But for those who are as persistent and insistent on being an aggravating little fuck, well, then you know what to do if you got to drag their asses into court. So we covered everything from all angles tonight, and I want to thank you for coming here with me and spending time with me and being my friend on the Debsterism channel here on Twitch and on YouTube. So if you have any ideas for topics or you want to send me an advice letter, go to the top of, actually I have a link in the show description page. You can find it there on YouTube or the top of the YouTube page. There's a button that says get advice. Just click it and send me what you got to say. I will be happy to hear it. Thanks you guys for showing up. I'll talk to you real soon. Bye bye.